And thank you. And I really appreciate all the action that I'm seeing. I haven't seen in previous administrations. Committees formed, getting real work done. So thank you. Appreciate that. Second item is a recommendation. I know your resource and human resource and capital resource constrained on the roads. And I know roads are a priority for you and this administration. I'd like to recommend that you post the schedule of when you're getting to the roads. I know you must have a plan. I think it would help cut down on the Facebook chatter of, you know, broken roads and lack of maintenance. So that way, if I'm coming down El Camino Real and I forgot my mouth guard and I chip a tooth, I'll know, I can look and see, okay, next week they're coming to that road. So I'll hold off my complaints and just wait for that plan to come to them. So just a recommendation. Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to governing body reports. I believe we do have a police report. Chief Lewis. Oh, sorry, that would be a staff report.
That's a staff report.
Yeah, moving on.
Confused. Good evening, Mayor, members of council, manager, rear, two clerks. Do you have it up there?
I do not,
I
sorry.
didn't bring everybody copies, I thought you would have it up there.
Should have copies.
All right, for last month of February, we had 66 citations issued for the month, 33 speeding violations, 15 parking violations, 8 interfering with traffic. The rest are all little single double digits. We had 53 calls for service across the board, from parking to alarms to 911 records to standbys. And we had 1 arrest for the month. And for news for the PD, the last time I was here, I skipped item 1, and then I forgot to come back and then talk about it. So in January, myself and Officer Jarrett, we attended the SHOT Show in Vegas, which is the firearms industry show for the year. We went with some specific items in mind that we were looking to accomplish. We were able to accomplish pretty much all of those. Some of them were some training aids that we're looking to purchase that allows us to do force on force simunition training, where we can actually have like mock domestics or whatever, and it allows you to actually engage each other, and it has a paint round and it stings. So it gives a real life kind of, you know, realization to being struck with something. So we was able to speak with vendors on that. We spoke with numerous ammunition vendors. As everyone knows, times of crisis, times of war, school shootings, ammunition dries up rapidly, and we get no actual preference on any of that ourselves. So we have to fight everybody else for it too. We have a good surplus going right now, but we did make some good contacts there. Monday of that week was a live fire demo out at one of the ranges. We were able to go out there and actually participate. We was able to shoot multiple weapon systems, especially the one we were looking at. We're looking at updating and upgrading our rifles. Our rifles are about 8 years old, and they're kind of out of date and antiquated. So that, as well as optics. While we were there, we did get to see a new optic mount that had just hit the floor when we were there. In fact, Aimpoint said they hadn't even seen it until that morning. It was the first they saw it. We came back, I contacted the company. I've got the first, when the first group hits the country, because they come from Swiss, I think they're Swiss made or something like that, Switzerland, Swiss, whatever. But when the first group hits the country, the first ones come to Angel Fire. So I've already got those ordered. They have a very unique way in which they're doing the detachments, so it prevents snagging and hang points. So Officer Jarrett just returned from Colorado from the FBI Supervision Leadership Course, which is the first stage of the FBI trilogy. So Lieutenant Strickland is set to go, I think next week he leaves to go for the command leadership, which is the second tier of the FBI trilogy. The executive will be the last. The new Tahoe has been built. We're waiting on shipment date. We haven't received that yet. Once it's here, it'll go to Wackup Outfitters in Albuquerque, and they'll do the police upfitting on it. So, we're at still one position open for today, no applicants recent. And I was made aware yesterday, we're probably gonna be losing our new officer. His wife has a good job opportunity back in Texas. So they're waiting to hear back on that. And if all goes well for her, they're probably gonna be relocating back to Texas. So we will be down to 2 openings. Stand for any questions?
Chief, I was talking with Jeremy before the meeting, and something that I was not aware of is that police officers are required to live within the valley.
Yes.
Is that a state requirement or a village
No, that's a
requirement?
village requirement.
Would it be beneficial to us to open that up?
Absolutely, it would, but there's a lot of discussion that has to take place in reference to that, specifically in the winter months.
Sure.
Okay, and we actually started this conversation, I'm not sure if you and I have had that one yet or not, but I know the former administration, we kind of touched bases on it a little bit. I don't remember, I'm wanting to say you and I kind of visited on it one day.
Touched on it.
But I'm open to it, but we have to be very careful with it because of response times and the unique location of Angel Fire, and no matter where you go, you have something nasty to get through. You know, I mean, every direction is a canyon or a pass or something, right? So, I'm not worried about this time of year forward, isn't too much a concern, but it's that late October to now that's the concerning part, so,
Something we can have a
but
discussion on.
will say it's definitely worth having a discussion, but it will definitely open recruiting, because I've had to turn people away that wanted to stay in Taos or stay in Cuesta or something like that wanted to come work here. And I wasn't, at that time, I wasn't in a position to authorize them to commute. So, but
Okay.
it's definitely something we can sit down and put our heads together and see what's realistic and, you know, allowing people.
Thank you.
So, the one thing that, I was asked, and I don't have an answer, and I don't know if the manager can help or the mayor, is the Officer Jarrett did ask that, whenever they get the final word, that, if he could stay on in a part-time capacity for a little bit till they actually get moved. So, but I don't have an answer for that.
I hadn't been asked that, but we can talk about it.
So, that, I'm not sure what we get into with that.
Yeah, well, we can talk about it, so.
Okay. Other questions?
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Do we have any other staff reports this evening? So we'll move on to committee reports. Mike Overby?
Okay, I've already introduced myself. We had a meeting this week of the Fire Adapted Community Committee, and 3 or 4 things I wanted to update you on. We approved a committee bylaws document, which I haven't seen one done before, maybe there have been, but as to guide the governance of our committee. You know, we have 8 members. Unlike a lot of short-term committees, you know, we're ongoing, you know, when's fire gonna be over? So we felt like we needed something to give us more specific guidance. And, you know, one example, it's only one piece of this, is attendance, simple attendance. If you don't have a quorum, you wasted a month. And so, it has a reference in there, and if the committee, you know, follows the guidelines, then we can recommend that a committee member be replaced, certainly by the mayor. Okay. So that is a document. I don't know how we're gonna share it. Do you have any
You'd need to-
recommendations?
Mr. Mayor, you'd need to submit that to, the clerk to be on an agenda, and it'd need to be approved by council.
Okay, for next month. Okay, will do. We've been evaluating a pretty large number of grant opportunities. We know that there's an opening for a grant writer, so we've been trying to do our best as volunteers. We've established a source for help in this regard. There's a nonprofit funded by BLM and the Forest Service. It's called the Santa Fe Fireshed Coalition. And they provide help to organizations such as ours and towns. You know, they're going to, in the future, starting now, they've got a person assigned to us to give us a heads up on future grants coming down the pike. Unlike maybe a 2-month window, they give us a 6-month window. So we can decide, do we want to go for it? Who do we need to contact? Who's going to write it? An example of that is one that I found out about today. It's due in October, called the Wood Innovation Grant. They fund equipment, other, activities, facilities to utilize, waste wood as an example in a more productive way. We all know that we generate a lot of slash, and with the new wildfire defense grant, 2,800 acres of slash. But there could be some opportunities there, but we need an organization, it could be the village, or it could be an entity that would want to partner on that kind of a thing. So we're looking forward to, learning more in that regard. Regarding that Santa Fe Fireshed Coalition, we've been awarded a $2,000 grant, micro grant as they call it, that can be used this year by the committee and the town for resident and owner outreach and communication. It would pay for printing, printing, postage, venue fees for the community center for a town hall meeting, sometime maybe around the 4th of July. So pay some of our expenses that otherwise we wouldn't have. Last, we have done quite extensive analysis regarding a potential purchase of slash burning kilns. Maybe you've heard of this. Dr. Hartson has been doing a lot of research on that. It would burn slash in a controlled container type environment. And 20% of that would be a biochar, which is a saleable soil amendment, okay? And it's used, and we have a potential buyer for over $200 a cubic yard. So what we're proceeding with an analysis of, give us a contract that you'll buy it for over what time. And again, quite complex. I mean, we know we can't just use that. We still have to do pile burning, but what's the right mix? How many can be used and those kind of things. So that's my report. Any questions?
And your Rotary meeting tomorrow is?
Tomorrow, yeah, the wildfire committee, or wildfire department under Captain Romo is hosting Rotary for kind of a tour of what they do up there, Fire Station number 3. So if anybody wants to attend that, too late to order lunch, but you can come up to Fire Station number 3 at noon. Okay? Thank you. Hey.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Jake, do you have anything to report on workforce housing?
So I'll just briefly, we did have a workforce housing committee meeting yesterday. There were some provisional votes given. We were a little short on committee members. That's item A under new business for us tonight. So we went ahead and did some provisional voting, assuming that the new committee members will be approved so that we can get a chair and a person to take the minutes. We also discussed next steps without going into details about some of the other agenda items tonight, but the focus is shifting very quickly to the need for governance documents. And so there were several items put forth that committee members are looking to bring back. The committee is planning a work session, so a longer meeting on the 25th will be the next meeting there, unless, there are problems with committee members moving forward. But at this point, we don't anticipate any. So that group is spooling up quite quickly and ready to get to work.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions for Jake as far as that's concerned? All right. I think that's going to do it for staff reports this evening. I'm sorry, committee reports. We'll move on to new business. If I could please get a motion for consideration of adding members to the Workforce Housing Committee. I have a list of those members here. Elizabeth Ricketson, Megan Quinn, Lori Beal, and Maya Langridge.
I'll make a motion to add additional members to the Workforce Housing Committee. I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Just as a point of information, this will bring that committee from 3 voting and 1 non-voting members to 7 voting and 1 non-voting member for a total of 8, which is a good number considering the amount of work that committee is going to have to do.
Very good. Anything else? All right.
Mayor Pro Tem Powell.
Aye.
Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Counselor Weeks.
Aye.
Counselor Crane.
Aye.
Carries.
Moving on, I'd like to get a motion for consideration to approve comprehensive plan committee members. The list I have before me for volunteers on that committee are Alex Shather, Mary Ann McDonald, Attila Baladi, Allison Woodall, Santos Martinez, and Bill Humbert as the council liaison.
I'll make a motion to approve adding members to the Comprehensive Plan Committee. I'll second that.
Discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there may be an additional member of that. When I had approached the resort on members to our committees, we thought that, Ms. Langren was gonna be on, or I thought it was gonna be on this committee. She ended up on the Workforce Housing Committee. So, we don't have a representative from the resort on that. So at a later time, after consultation with the resort, we will, add a member from the resort.
Mayor Pro Tem Powell.
Aye.
Counselor Crane.
Aye.
Counselor Weeks.
Aye.
Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving on to item C, consideration of resolution 2024-18, a resolution approving the Village of Angel Fire to apply for the Local Government Transportation Project Fund within New Mexico Department of Transportation for fiscal year 2025 to resurface Country Club Drive.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-18, a resolution approving the Village of Angel Fire to apply for the Local Government Transportation Project Fund with NMDOT for fiscal year 2025 to resurface Country Club Drive.
Second.
Question, Julie?
Mr. Mayor, council members, before you have the resolution, we put these in order of our staff recommendations, what we refer, you to concur with, or our priorities, that's all. So the first one is Country Club Drive. This project has gone before, NMDOT, the LTAP program. We're pushing it again. This is for paving from 434 up to, St. Andrews Way where the previous project terminated. I'll stand for any questions.
So what's the climate in NMDOT right now? Are they,
They're pushing us to submit projects. Like last year they said 2, this year they said 3, submit 3 projects. I asked, John Herrera with District 4, I'm like, well, how much money are you guys looking at? Because that Senate bill did pass and they have an extra $500-something million
right?
going to state and DOT. So right now they're pretty gung ho.
Good.
I'd like to see, some funding come from it.
All right.
We'll see what happens.
Okay. Good.
Any other questions or discussion?
Mayor Pro Tem Powell.
Aye.
Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Counselor Weeks.
Aye.
Counselor Crane.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving on to item D, consideration of resolution 2024-19, a resolution approving the Village of Angel Fire to apply for Local Government Transportation Project Fund with, New Mexico Department of Transportation for fiscal year 2025 for Jackson Hole Road roadway improvements.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-19, a resolution approving the Village of Angel Fire to apply for the local government transportation project fund with NMDOT for FY 2025 for Jackson Hole Road roadway improvements.
I'll second.
Hey, gentlemen, this is for Jackson Hole Road, same project or same, program. This, even though it's a shorter distance, it has to do with also drainage improvements because the road sits higher than the condo drives. So it's a little bit more that we're looking at for that particular project. And, this is our priority number 2, and I'll stand for any questions.
Is this paving?
Paving, yes, and drainage improvements.
Right.
So they're not putting water lines or sewer lines in because they're already there, but whatever they need to do to change.
Is that from that stop sign where they did the last improvement?
From
It
Mammoth
just carries
Hill,
that.
or from Mammoth Mountain, excuse me, up to Five Springs Road.
Okay, perfect, yeah.
Do you believe we have a member of the audience that would like to speak to this item? And if you could please come to the podium.
Evening, Council Mayor and Council, this is Elizabeth Ricketson. The one question I had about that project is it possible to include the section of Five Springs Road from where North Angel Fire Road runs into it to the Jackson Hole Road intersection, and also make sure that the List condos improve their drainage onto that road?
Five Springs Road is a different project. It's
Okay.
in line, but it's not on this funding source right now.
The engineering has been done on this?
On Jackson Hole,
Yes.
we're currently using co-op funds for Jackson Hole Road design right now.
Okay.
So by the time they're dishing out the money, the plan design is done.
And that will include the drainage
Mhm.
situation?
Drainage improvements, yes, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd also like to answer Mr. Ricketson by saying that the Five Springs and North Angel Fire interchange will be, one of the, considerations for the GO bond money that we have. Once we get those committees going and we get recommendations, that'll be one of the intersections that will be considered there for GO bond money.
I will take this opportunity just to ask for, we are still needing volunteers for our roads and infrastructure committee as well. We have one, so maybe 2, but we would like to see that one, that's a very important one, so. Any other questions, regarding item D?
Mayor Pro Tem Pal,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Moving on to item E, consideration of resolution 2024-20, a resolution approving the Village of Angel Fire to apply for the local government transportation project fund with the New Mexico Department of Transportation for fiscal year 2025 for Bill Burgess / North Angel Fire roadway improvements.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2024-20, a resolution approving the Village of Angel Fire to apply for the local government transportation project fund with NMDOT for FY 2025 for Bill Burgess / North Angel Fire roadway improvements.
Second.
Gentlemen, this is another project that we have previously submitted to NMDOT, the North Angel Fire / Bill Burgess Road, going from 434, I believe, up to Vale. Includes paving, drainage, and new sidewalk or curb replacements where needed. And I'll stand for any questions you may have.
Do you have a request from the audience?
Kevin Ricketson. I just do have one question, and it's in general about all these. I mean, are there you mentioned a list of projects that may be coming or prioritize, that kind of thing. Are there any projects that aren't core? I mean, are we taking care of the bigger area in general, or are we just focused on improving the 8 roads in the core?
So we are definitely looking at, obviously, everything in the village, but anything pertaining mainly to paving and DOT grants, are being focused more in the core at this time.
But, so,
Where we don't have to redo the water lines and things like that, but it's basically paving.
is there a place where we can use priority lists and that kind of thing?
That would be the responsibility of that committee that, we're seeking more volunteers for.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Ricketson, I will tell you that, the Public Works Director has already developed his priority list for roads. But we are waiting, that's not the council's priority list, it's just his. And we want to formulate that committee so that we can run it from there, because we don't want his voice being the only voice in making those decisions.
Thanks.
Put my name down for that committee. Laurie Willis.
I'll certainly make a note. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Any other questions for Julie or any further discussion on this item?
Mayor Pro Tem Powell,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Humbert,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Nice. Moving on to item F, consideration of prioritization of the TPF project. Vote, a motion.
I make a motion for prioritization of the TPF projects.
I'll second.
Gentlemen, Manager Ware suggested that we, bring this up to the council, that you either concur or you don't concur with the list of priorities that I've presented. So I have, Country Club, Jackson Hole, and North Angel Fire Road. Those are the priorities that I have recommended and presented to you. If you have other, if you wish me to make other changes, just let me know and I can change the priority presented to NMDOT.
So I don't have any recommendations beyond the 3. I think those are the critical 3.
Okay.
Manager.
And Mr. Mayor, the importance of this is that when we submit these to DOT, our prioritization will, whatever's first is most likely to get funded if we get something funded. And so what I wanted was the council making the decision on the prioritization, or at least approving the recommended prioritization, not just the staff making that prioritization without council input.
At it this way, Country Club, we're asking for $1 million. Jackson Hole, we're asking for 1.1. And, Bill Burgess North Angel Fire, we're asking for 3. So I think that has some impact on prioritization.
That's true.
Yep.
So just to clarify, if we don't want to change the order, there's no need for a vote here. If we just leave this as is, then the order that we've just gone through stands.
Mr. Mayor, Counselor Crane, my recommendation is that you go ahead and formalize it to a vote. It'd be a quick vote if you want to keep it that way or not. I just want to start the precedent of the council making these decisions as opposed to the staff.
Mr. Ricketson?
I do have one more question or concern, I guess, regarding that there. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, this is somebody's priority. The committee's not anybody, this is somebody's.
The staff.
Staff, okay. So I don't know if you would want to wait till we review this further through a committee, or do you, not that it's.
I think we have a lot of projects to consider, and personally, I would like to keep this process moving forward. Julie, could you explain the timeframes behind each one of these projects if we start the application today?
Yes, sir. these projects have already gone through plan and design. That means they're quote unquote shovel ready. When the TPS, like we had to turn in our project feasibility forms, on the 11th, on Friday. I turned mine in on, or I'm sorry, they were due Monday, I turned mine in on Friday. This is a fast project, so if you're looking at a road to be paved or something like that, you're thinking 2 to 3 years down the road. You have to get funding or use budgeted funds for plan and design first. Then I go after funds for construction, which is what the TPF fund mostly is. It's for construction of these projects. You're looking at $1 to $3 million projects. So the timing of this, I have to have my packets turned in to NMDOT by next month. So I'll turn in my resolutions to them tomorrow. I'll get the final presentation that I have to do turned into our COGS, who make recommendations also to our District 4, NMDOT. And then I have to go to a meeting in May, and we'll do our presentations in person where we get graded by NMDOT, we get graded by area, Colfax County municipalities grade us also as far as our need. A lot of times they'll ask you, what's your number one priority? What's the main project you want to get done? If I have them already in order, prioritized, I'll say, okay, we've got to get this country club drive done, it's going native, it's breaking up, it's unsafe. So a road project, you have to think 2 to 3 years in the future. Okay, I want this one done. Okay, well, let me get the plan design done, let me get funding for that, or find some money in the budget, get that done. And then the village can also, if they have it in the budget and in the funds, they can also start a road project themselves, not just go through NMDOT. That's basically, it's a extensive process.
So how many of these do you have shovel ready?
These are the first 3 right now. I have plan and design scheduled for, further up North Angel Fire Road, Five Springs Road would be the next thing on that area right there. We just did, Country Club St. Andrews Way. Next, we're looking at sewer extensions and paving going down Champion Terrace. Once that roads committee gets together, they can start prioritizing what the village wants to have and move forward and make their recommendations to council. Right now, I'm doing a lot of projects that don't require water and sewer lines to be dug up. They're pretty much paving projects, paving rehabilitation projects.
So if you look at this from traffic, I don't know if Country Club or Bill Burgess has the most traffic. I suspect Bill Burgess does, but Bill Burgess is 3 times the cost of Country Club, so.
Which could affect
Yeah, which is why.
Well,
getting.
Bill Burgess also has ADA, we have to make those crosswalks back to
Right.
ADA compliant because they're just deteriorated. It has curb and gutter. We have to fix some of the curb cutouts that they have dinked up. It's going a bit further. I think the linear feet's a little bit more on, North Angel Fire, and it's also 4 lanes up until you get to Valley.
So that's why I would support the prioritization here.
I agree with Councilor Powell. Manager Ware?
And Mr. Mayor, I just want to clarify, Mr. Ferguson, this is what we're reacting to, what we have accomplished to date. And that's why these projects are the ones that are subject to prioritization. But with the proper functioning roads committee, all of this would have gone through this year, this summer, so that, and into the winter, so that all this prioritization and the pre-work would be done, so that we maybe next year have more roads to consider for prioritization with recommendations from the committee and the staff and to present to the council. So the roads committee is an important piece of this once we can get it formulated, because they'll be working with staff to come up with this list of prioritizations. Today, we basically had to come up with it on our own because we don't have a roads committee.
And this isn't the only roads that are being worked on, it's just the part that's
Applied to
funding.
these DOT grants.
right. Yes.
Okay. If you don't mind, approach the podium if you'd like to ask a question.
Pro Tem Powell,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Humbert,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
motion carries.
Moving on to item G, consideration of a change order 18, WWTF contract time extension.
I make a motion to approve change order 18 to the WWTF contract time extension.
I'll second.
Gentlemen, Mr. Epler's not here, I'll present for this. It's actually change order number 8, not 18. The wastewater treatment facility is waiting on an electrical switch. Because it's BABA, Buy America, Build America, we're waiting on the switch. Now, we originally got this, change order, 3 weeks ago. We missed the previous council meeting deadline, so we're presenting it now. They're still looking for a switch, but they're also formulating a workaround if we can't get that switch. So we're almost at project closeout, so we're getting to the punch list now. I'll stand for any questions. I'll try to answer them intelligently.
So I'm sorry I didn't ask this earlier, but I see Carl Abrams as the engineer.
For HDR, yes, HDR is the engineer for the wastewater treatment facility.
This goes back several years.
Yes, at least to 2016.
Thank you.
Questions?
If they do a go-around, will they eventually correct that with a proper switch?
I believe so, but don't quote me on it. That's a Kurt question. But I believe so.
Mr. Mayor, Counselor Humbert, yes, they will right now. I mean, the issue is they need that switch to conduct testing. And, their hope is that if they have to do a go-around, that'll get them through the testing phase so they can finish the punch list. And by the time the punch list gets here, the new switch will be there and then they'll replace it.
Good.
Right now, they can't test.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Powell,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
Counselor Humbert,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay. At this time, I would ask that I get a motion to adjourn to executive session per NMSA 1015-H-8 and 1015-H-2.
Make a motion to go into executive session per NMSA 10-15-8H-8 and 10-15-H-2.
I'll second.
Have a comment from the audience?
What's the rationale
Can-
for including,
And then please introduce yourself.
What's the rationale for including item 1 under the parameters of an executive session?
It's the consideration of the purchase of real property, which is one of the items allowed to be considered under executive session. Because when you go to purchase real property, if we publicly disclose at this time what the offer is, somebody could hear it and go underbid us.
Thank you.
You need to vote.
Do a vote?
You need to vote to go into executive session.
Mayor Pro Tem Powell,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
You're gonna have to call Jake on your cell.
We've got so where are we going, back here?
I don't know where that paper is. Brett got it, I just don't know where they are. Okay, so, I have a feeling you're calling. My first season, yeah. In your office?
So, man, also have.
When you get the resolution signed,
But I can't find the ordinance. But that should contact. He's also like a director of mayor and all that. So I gave you his phone number.
otherwise.
Met with some developers. You want me to be proactive about a signed resolution? So I also.
Sign them tonight.
These are our three, so.
18, 19, and
Yeah, mine was.
You're right, you're okay.
I did give them a heads up that.
So, as soon as you get them signed, let me know.
One more thing. A little bit of procedure. I understand, but we just didn't communicate that.
Any resolutions that I present a lot because projects and grants, they have to have permission from the email. So anytime I present a resolution, you copy them down for a while.
Ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
And I don't mind you bugging me either. I'm wondering if, where I can put resolutions where they're available to everyone.
It'll be on the website,
Yeah.
on the village website.
I don't know. Could you let me be proactive about these security? And I will be if you ask me.
Yes, if you just, get a copy and put them in the street. While in the other building.
Mr. There, everybody. I, ahead of the vote. These minutes will be on last part after. But these. That's what you're trying for another cup. No, this meeting. The emergency part for the February day. And what is it? Second page shows that you have. Oh, okay, I shouldn't have added it. Yeah, maybe I should change. Hadn't even thought about it. There's a lot of. Well, I can't sign off on it until the third agenda item or whatever. I understand, but I mean, should I change this? Change that and re-sign it, get it back to me, and I'll do that, drop it off. If that's necessary. So, your office is in here, so I can. Great. So why? So I don't know why. It allows by right that you have a garage and furniture. I would like, you know, so that you could have a rental go through so it actually reloads. I think it is. That's all still. I think I'm lined up with approvals, zoning approval.
I don't know about it.
No, they don't need right. Well, we were just talking about resort. He gave me my load to go up.
That's how you get that road.
Well, they need to.
Sit on that board.
Yeah, well.
I was gonna share my say that, but.
Why would I take it, only rip it out from the sewer?
Oh, maybe they won't put it in there.
We believe it, yeah.
That's so bright.
Well, but that's what I said, that's what I'm saying, to do all their engineering for that sewer. And we walk the street to make sure that conflicts with other utilities is minimized. So our water department director at the time, these are my manholes for water, sewer, so. These roads. Sorry, I got a spot here. He says that because she got the road, it's my house. You were on the edge, you got. Doing a good job. And you're on the video. But, you know, there's stuff like that. If we can water director asked me, hey, we're ripping this up now. We're supposed to stop. You want me to go ahead and put it down, put a manhole on the south side? All three of them. Yeah, we just had our ambulance. We couldn't. There's a hydrant here, there's a hydrant mirror. Here now? Yeah, we, moving the loan rate. I've been early running that. They use that to make, yeah, they use that to make it. Well, we thought of it up here. But at any rate, I mean, sold the house, they're out. I go back to I don't know. So that's why I'm here, get closer. I don't trying to run the line there. We got all so I know we got it. So yeah, I could apply for Angel Fire. One's out on 434 Washington on this. Yeah. Yeah, that's the center. There's someone. Talking about the so that it's 3 million in March, but started like, I've been having calls with police, and I went down some people, so we're at the corner. That, so, if we got, like, the engineers and eight. Right. It's like a hat. No, yeah. No. So, I can go in and edit, like, this is. There's a little there's a lot of fields that are doing that well. Or have probably yes, right. Awesome. Oh, yeah. They were. So that's
So we mentioned resolution. And I have a. I don't think that there's not
Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to get a motion to, come out of executive session.
I'll make a motion to come out of executive session for NMSA 10-15-H-8 and 10-15-8-2.
Second.
And I will say that no decisions were made in executive session.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Powell,
Aye.
Councilor Crane,
Aye.
Councilor Weeks,
Aye.
Councilor Humbert.
Aye.
Carries.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to look at, item I, consideration of a real estate purchase.
I'll make a motion to approve a commercial real estate purchase agreement with Clay Acres LLC. I'll second.
Mayor Pro Tem Powell,
Aye.
Mayor Humbert.
I'm not a mayor. Aye.
Councilor Humbert. Councilor Weeks,
Aye.
Councilor Crane.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, moving on. Item J, I'd like, to get consideration to appoint Dennis Grote as the village clerk.
I'll make a motion to approve, to appoint Dennis Grott as the village clerk.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Powell,
Aye.
Councilor Crane,
Aye.
Councilor Weeks,
Aye.
Councilor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion carries.
At this time, I'd ask, Manager Ware if he has anything to report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Unfortunately, the Public Works Director could not make it, but I wanted to report to the council the status of Agua Fria 2 well. It is a total loss. We spent 2 weeks and tens of thousands of dollars trying to recover that well once the pump, if you don't know what happened, the pump was hanging on the well. The pump had stopped working. It had a short in it. The drillers were trying to pull the pump out, and when they did, the cable broke. It fell to the bottom of the well, 458 feet. Along the way, it hit the casing. The casing was old casing, and it broke a lot of casing. They spent 2 weeks trying to pull that pump out. They were never successful in doing so. And so we just had to write that well off as a total loss. So we will be using Agua Fria 1 well, which is what we're currently doing for Back Basin Road Pressure Zone, until we get a new well drilled, which will probably not be until July or August, just because just the permitting process alone to get a new well, even though it's a replacement well, which shrinks the permitting process some, but just to do that is at least 3 months, just to get the permitting done to drill a new well. So we are pushing hard on that. We've already started that process, and, but we will have to drill a new well for the Back Basin Road pressure zone. Also, a couple of things happened on the accounting side, that, were actually, very exciting to me and maybe a little nerdy to you guys, but, so we discovered an error in the way revenue was being posted. So first of all, let me tell you this. In order to finish last year's accounting work to submit it to the auditor so the auditor could perform the audit, we have to get last year's trial balance just to balance. Well, and we pulled in a professional from DFA, Michael Steninger, to help us do that. That was the prior administration brought him in. And Michael did a good job in doing that, but he had to do a blind journal entry for $6 million to revenue in order to get it to balance. That means that we had cash in the bank that had not been recorded on the books. So there were no postings for $6 million that was in the bank. And we actually brought in a special audit team to look at this, not our normal auditors, a second accounting firm, to help with that. But I'm kind of proud to say at least a big chunk of it was actually discovered by our own team. The three ladies, three GL accountants that we have here worked together for over a week. They figured it out. Now we're in the process of going back and correcting the errors that were made. We know they were made back to at least May of 2023, and they may have gone further back. So we got to look now all the way back to July of 2022. But at least we feel like we can account for a big portion of that revenue that wasn't previously been accounted for. I will also tell you that at the beginning of this month, we were 7 months behind on doing bank reconciliations. And as of this morning, I didn't check this afternoon, but as of this morning, we had completed our bank reconciliations through December. So net right now, we're only 2 months behind on bank reconciliation. That's, I don't know that you guys, that I can explain the challenge that is. We have a single bank account with over 30 funds that are being accounted for in this single bank account, and $2 to $3 million a month being expended or received through that banking account. So it's a huge bank account, and it hadn't been reconciled, and we are getting close to being caught up, which is very important for us to be able to stay on schedule for both budgeting purposes and for next year's audit. So I'm very proud of my team for doing that. I'll tell you, I had very little to do with it. They dug in and decided to take it on, and they got it done themselves, and I'm very proud of them. So that's what I have to report to the council.
All right, with that said, this meeting is adjourned.